Yo, Neo has logged back into the Matrix. You already know what it is. My name is Cedric, but you can call me Ceddy Said. Welcome to Reviews from the Six. Here we do reviews on my hobbies, which is reading comics, collecting fragrances, working out, playing video games, watching combat sports. If that sounds interesting to you, go ahead, pop a squat and listen up. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. But without further ado, we are talking about Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong. So the reason why you click this video is either because you are interested in reading issue number 1, or you just saw the cover and you were like, yo, what is that all about? And I'm here to tell you what it's all about. Now, I will say, I do not do any spoilers, so I'm not going to tell you the story word for word and the entire storyline. I will give you bits and pieces. I will tell you what my thoughts are on issue number 1. I will also tell you how I like the art. Do I think it's going to be good? My favorite parts, of course. Certain things to look out for, Easter eggs maybe, but I'm not going to spoil it for you. This is just me talking about the comics. Like I said, it's my hobby. So without further ado, you see the cover art, right? You have Superman, Godzilla, and Batman on the front cover. You see the Daily Planet in the back here, so that kind of lets you know where it's taking place. Also, what I like about this comic is that it's a wraparound cover. So even the back is a cover where you have Kong, you have a Green Lantern, and you have Hawkgirl as well. Yeah, so let me show you the art that's in here as well. I really dug the art, y'all. I thought it was like really good art. I like how they did Batman in here too. I can't think of the artist off the top of my head, but I will tell you in just a second as soon as we dive a little deeper into the issue here. But yeah, the art was really good. So first things first, like I said, you start off on the cover with Superman, right, and Godzilla. That's exactly how the story opens up. You have Lois and Superman meeting in a location where they first met. Now, I kind of like the part where they went into the backstory because, you know, they've been together for so long. You're kind of like, what's going on here? Now, they kind of do hit the rewind button a little bit because at this point, they're not married. They're getting married. And as they're getting married, as he pops the big question, Clark pops the big question to Lois, a big surprise happens, right? Now, of course, they go back and let you know how that is present. So long story short, you have the Legion of Doom in here as well. Not just Kong, the Justice League, and Godzilla. You have the Legion of Doom as well. Now, they do have some characters where I was like, why would they put them in this issue? But it works. Like, take Toyman, for example. I was just like, why is Toyman? I know he's part of the Legion of Doom, but why is he in something like this? Something that can be big and something that's going to be major. Why put a character like that into the issue? But it works out perfectly. The way he initiates the storyline, you're like, yo, okay, that's pretty good. They do have things in here like the Orion Sleigh, which I'm not too familiar with, but the Legion of Doom is trying to get their hands on that. Also, you have Lex Luthor, who makes his appearance. Now, at first, you know, Lex Luthor is kind of like, you know, the boss of all bosses. Like, he gets involved, but he only gets involved when he knows there's a gain for him. He's just not going to be mingling with the Legion of Doom or other villains if he's not going to get something out of it. But he saw a gain out of this, and he said, you know what? Let me insert myself here because you guys need X, Y, and Z. Now, the Legion of Doom is kind of disorganized. They're just in this place where they're like, we want to be bad guys. What's going on? Luthor kind of sets them into play for the storyline, and you're like, oh, okay, I don't see how they would get intertwined in the story if it wasn't for Lex Luthor. But Lex Luthor is like, hey, let's go do something real quick, right? So as they're going to do stuff, like I say, they have the Orion Sleigh that they're after, and they have a mother box that they're after as well. Toyman is in here. Like I said, I'm not gonna, I cannot just not talk about Toyman. Like, he was just so annoying in the first couple pages, and you're just like, somebody needs to smack him. But you see why, and you tend to lean on his side during the whole story, which I know is Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong, but Toyman has a big part, and I kind of like that entire storyline. But even with Lex Luthor, he has a big part too. So anyways, long story short, they go to collect these items. Well, something happens. They also have a Kryptonian robot in here too, which I thought was pretty cool. He kind of protects the Fortress of Solitude. That was real cool. So anyways, now since we talked about the Legion of Doom, you do have Justice League as well. So they show the Justice League, and the Justice League is kind of doing what they do, right? They're talking about Superman. They're like, hey, you know, Superman is getting married. They kind of show a highlight reel of Superman doing like everything and anything that he can before he gets married, so he doesn't have to take care of anything during his honeymoon. So it's almost like, you know, before you go on break to work and you're like, yo, I need to get all this work done. That's what Superman does. And they're just like, he's in 2 places at once. He's doing all these things. Well, who's going to take care of everything when he goes? And you have Hal there, and he's kind of just like a sourpuss. Now, I will say this. I'm not too sure what has happened between Hal and Clark, but they have something going on here. Maybe Hal is just like moody, but yeah, there's something with Clark that doesn't sit. So every time they mention Clark or say his name, he gets upset. So he's just like, bro, we don't need him. We got this. Who is him? He's getting married. Who wants to marry that dude? Who wants to marry her? Like, he's just like, he's sour about everything. So they look up, and as they look up, not Power Girl, but Kara's there. So she's like, you're gonna need a Kryptonian while Kryptonian is on vacation. That really sets him off, right? So you got a Flash there, and they don't really show too many members of the Justice League. They just show Flash, Hal, and Kara, and Soup, of course. So with that being said, it's almost like a 4 on 8-ish, something like that, I would say, when it comes to the Legion of Doom. So in the Legion of Doom, off the top, they had like Cheetah in here, Giganta, Lex Luthor, Captain Frost. I mean, you had a good amount of Legion of Doom characters in here. So with that being said, they're not even gearing up to go against each other. They're just showing how Legion of Doom is putting something together, and the Justice League is sitting back like, okay, Superman has to take care of everything before he goes on break, and we're just here for support, right? But long story short, Superman is on top of a building proposing to Lois. Justice League is back at the base, just trying to put a plan together how to take care of everything when Super is gone. And then you have the Legion of Doom out here just causing havoc, trying to set something up. Well, long story short, they go to the Fortress of Solitude. They get there, they find a few items that they're getting. Like I listed 3 items, right? So they're there to get those items. Well, something happens that throws a monkey wrench into everything, right? The Justice League gets alerted. They show up, boom, they get busy. Right when they get busy, one of the items does what it does, and it just sets the storyline in motion. Toyman does it. It's really good, y'all. Y'all just have to check it out. But some of the things that intrigue me the most is kind of like, you have Kong here, right? You have King Kong, and you have Grodd in here too. So it's like, oh, okay, there's a connection, right? Then you have the Superman and Wonder Woman connection, where Superman is proposing to Lois. So now, how is Wonder Woman going to feel about that? Is she turning on anything? Then you have Batman, right? Batman is so rich, and you know, he plans ahead. So he's telling Clark like, yo, do you think that's really a smart idea to marry this girl? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that was deep. I was just like, yo, he's like, you want her in that close proximity? Are you sure? There's a part, I'm just going to tell you guys, there's a part where he's like, do you need me to buy a ring? Because Superman or Clark said he financed the ring. I was weak, because even though he's Superman and he's taking care of the world, he's in 2 places at once, he's taking care of all the crimes in the entire world, he cannot buy a ring. He has to finance it. But Batman can. And that sets Clark off, and Clark is getting ready to go ham. Like, you just see it, man. You're like, oh, okay, cool. There is another part in here too where not only do they have Kong and Grodd, but they have I think it's Titanos or Titania or something like that as well. But he's in here too, so that was interesting. So there's a lot going on here, and y'all need to pick it up so we can go and discuss this more into detail. But with that being said, I already talked your ear off. I don't want to spoil any more. I think the writing was awesome. I really do. Everything how everything tied into each other and with each other, great. Also, just the backstory and the history of everything too, how they crammed everything in for you. You're like, okay, it's setting the tone. The art is great. I would definitely pick this up if, you know, if you kind of like the live action movies and you kind of want to get a good idea of what can be. This can be a blockbuster hit. I would definitely pick it up for that. Even if you're just a DC fan, pick it up. It's a good crossover. I love it. You know, it is a crossover with Warner Bros, I believe, because they own Godzilla and Kong. You know, DC is DC, but Warner Bros produces DC movies, you know, all that good stuff. So yeah, with that being said, man, down in the comments below, let me know what you thought about Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong issue number 1. Are you going to get issue number 2? Are you wanting this to be a live action? What else are you reading from DC? Drop it down in the comments. Also too, hit that like button. The algorithm needs to see that so it can be like, okay, let's get this video out to more people like Cedric and you that's watching. Also, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Your vibe attracts your tribe. Also, share this video to anybody and anywhere you think this would be beneficial. With that being said, thank you for joining my review of Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong. Peace, love, and blessings.